it is pretty good.
Oh my gosh! So we were doing something very interesting in the green room, guys. We were out doing each other and some singing. It was just remarkable. Who won, Brad? Who won?
I was just sitting listening. I was being serenaded by two lovely gentlemen. You know.
Wow. Jay Hannon would have been proud of been recording it, for sure.
Oh my gosh. Look, it's my pleasure as usual to introduce myself. My name is Andrew. I'm from Hamilton, New Zealand. My co-host's Brad from Melbourne, Australia. And down there on the bottom we have the Rev Kurt 5150 all the way from Washington State. Washington State, North America. So we are a global entity. Isn't that amazing? We are just about global on this program.
It's prestige worldwide.
Yeah. Well, that's just the reason why we're here. It's because of the subject we're talking about, and let's not beat around the bush. Eddie Van Halen is a huge influence and inspiration on a lot of people. So our channel is just a little homage of three guys getting together with some people in the chat talking about something that's very dear to ourselves. So the fact that you guys have decided to spend some time with us is even more humbling. If you guys haven't already checked, we are running our first ever channel competition. So we've got a couple of videos up on the channel. We are sharing it on social media, and it's one of the most simplest competitions ever. You just have to sub to the channel, and in 6 weeks time, honest to God, we promise this isn't a crappy little competition. We are going to do it properly. We will draw someone's name and they'll get a t-shirt from the Van Halen store. Honest to God.
I asked Andrew if I can enter, and he said no way.
Because you'll probably win it. And how would that look? How would that look if...
I said, I want a new...
He's a lucky dog.
I'm still wearing T-shirts that I've had for like 15 years, Eddie Van Halen ones. I want a new one, So...
what's the chances if we got Sonia, for example, who is a long-time friend of the show, and she drew Kurt's name or Brad's name? All credibility would be just out the door.
We'd be burning at the stake.
Just had an idea. I'm going to enter as an alias.
Oh,
that's a troll. But register as a troll.
Yeah. Hey, we've got some people already waiting for us, guys. We've got Cindy. I'm not going to even try to pronounce your names, Cindy, but thank you for joining us. We have James. We've got Ellen in the chat. Teresa all the way from Brazil in the chat. Thank you, Teresa. We've got Nelson. Arvin, a very good friend of the channel, in the chat saying hi. We've got Kurt 5150. We've got Jay 7/8. Thank you, Jay, for joining us. And that's about it. So, hey guys, how's it going?
Midweek for me. Nose of the grindstone. It's kind of nice to take a break from the grind and talk a little Eddie Van Halen. So awesome! Glad we're doing this tonight for sure.
Yeah. We've got Gussie in the chat too, guys. Sorry, Brad, for interrupting.
Oh, look, lockdown for me. I've just finished today. Is midnight last night, end of lockdown. So the 5 days of lockdown, but they were eventful. My phone didn't stop, and I'm trying to organise everything. You know what it's like through. So hard to get through to actual humans these days when you're trying to organise your life. It's just unbelievable. And yeah, some gigs have been thrown at me, which is good. And you know, theatre shows, which limited capacity, but they're not your run-of-the-mill pub gigs. They're theatre shows, so that's a bit of fun. Awesome. Pretty happy about that. Be good to get out and play some damn guitar again in front of people instead of sitting in my bedroom doing it.
Oh, mate, I envy you, and we look forward to having some reports back on your gigs. So, you know, obviously keep everyone in touch and informed of what's happening. So, you know, you're always got a home here for your reports, brother. In fact, it's probably mandatory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not getting by that easy.
Yeah, I've got to say, Andrew, too, mate. You know, you're very good with your artwork and things like that. Like the little video I sent you, you just turned it into a masterpiece.
Well, that's one of the great things about social media, guys. You know, and you know, we've said it before, haven't we, guys, on other shows? Just get a computer, get a mic, and if you have an interest and a passion in something, jump on YouTube and have a go. Because, you know, if the three of us can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah,
No, for
right.
sure. For sure.
That's for sure. But yeah, no, definitely once I get some, you know, some news, I'll update everyone. But the gigs are basically a couple of shows, basically. So I'm just the guitarist in the show, which is great. So I'm looking forward to that. But hopefully, you know, we'll see what happens. I don't want to sort of get too excited because we went into a 5-day lockdown unannounced. So I don't want that to keep happening. So we'll see how we go.
Yeah. Well, look, and we had a small little one here in New Zealand too. So, you know, yeah, I think what we just need to do, and one of the great things about having, you know, time to hang out with you guys is that we can focus on something that we really, really like. You know, we have family, we have friends, you know, we have work and we have our faith. But, you know, you've got to have your interests, you've got to have your hobbies, you know, and music is more than a hobby for a lot of us. It's probably cheapers. I don't think we can tear the music part off us. It's entrenched. That's who we are, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone that's part of the show, including the people that are in the chat, it's part of our DNA. It's not a choice. It's part of our DNA. So that's why we're here, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, if it wasn't for music, guys, you know, I loved it when Kurt the other day when we were doing a show. Kurt said, "Now, when you had a Walkman, you didn't fast forward anything because, you know, battery power was everything." You know, you know, so people have to remember, you know, we come from a different time, you know, so yeah, and you know, preserving that power on that Walkman, man, that was everything.
Yeah, you didn't want to get caught taking batteries out of your dad's you know, whatever you had in the garage or out of the remote control in the house to work on your Walkman. Batteries just didn't grow on trees. They were a hot commodity.
And they were never cheap either. Not like they are now.
No.
Awesome. So, look, I'm glad, guys, that we've decided that we were going to spend some time and share something. We always promised you, people in the chat, that we were going to do a little bit more than just talk about the albums, which is an important part of the show. If anything came up that we thought was interesting, and I think a lot of information will come up over the next, you know, few years, we'll endeavour to do our best to give our perspective and to share it with you. But certainly Kurt was really excited when this document dropped. A couple of, you know, I think I got 50 messages from Kurt saying, "Have you read it? Have you read it? Have you read it?" And I'm sure he sent 55 messages to Brad saying the same thing. You know, so we had to reply to every message saying, "Yes, we are reading it." So
And I'm thinking, am I a weirdo because I read this thing 5 times already, and plus I got it printed out and coming to my house? God, I got it.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
sick.
No, I read it a couple of times, and I actually read it an hour before we went on this, went live again, just to get my head fresh again. So, have you ordered a Tone Zone?
No.
I have one in my Axis, but I think for scientific purposes, for research and development, for R&D, I should probably order one and put it in this thing. What do you think?
I think you should, Kurt, and maybe we can do a comparison video and we can share it on this channel.
Yeah, maybe do some before audio and then after audio, same settings.
100%.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I just want to do a special shout out. We've got Brad in the chat, and Brad is a very, very, very good Van Halen fan. He posts a lot of clips of himself playing a lot of Van Halen stuff on various Van Halen groups. So thank you, Brad. I reached out to Brad a while ago and said, Brad, if you ever want to come on and hang out with us and talk EVH, you certainly do have an open invitation. So you're more than welcome to join us at some stage. So keep in touch with us, Brad. Flick us a message, and we'll make some room for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
So what did you guys think of the article?
Okay. Quickly before I pass it over to Brad, I just want to do a big shout out to Damasio for making it free and available, because they could have charged it. They could have put that on their website and said $9 or $10 US, but they made it free. So big ups to Damasio. Brad.
Yeah, I was actually going to say something very similar. That's an amazing thing that they've done. And I've got a lot of these magazines in my garage, actually, in cardboard boxes, and I'm going to be going through all my guitar worlds and guitar player and everything like that. But it was amazing to revisit some of these articles that I haven't read in how long? Since the 90s. The pictures are amazing. The information on the Music Man build, unreal. And there's one picture in particular that, mate, if I could get my hands on this guitar, oh man, geez, there's a Sunburst Music Man, the EVH in a guitar rack. It's backstage. It's part of the backstage footage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a Sunburst one. And I'm a sucker for a Sunburst, right? So yeah, that would be if I could get my hands on that, my goodness. So it's where it says shoot the show.
Yeah.
That section. We might be jumping a little bit too far ahead, but maybe we can get to it when we get to it, and I'll point it out. But there's three Music Mans there's a purple, it looks like a black or a purple one. His Trans Amber one, and a Sunburst. I can't say I've ever seen him play the Sunburst one. No,
nor have I. So, but what we'll do if you guys are okay, do you want to start going through the article now and just making some comments? Is that okay? So,
real quick,
just hold on,
Andrew, before we get started. Everyone in the chat, if you have gone on to damarzio.com, simple as that. And if this article doesn't pop up on the first page, go into the search engine and just plug in EVH, and this article will pop up. And you can actually download it as a PDF. And it is, 48 pages, right?
Yeah.
48 pages. Like Andrew said, it's free. And the first 12 pages are things that none of us have known for the last 30 years. Really, I mean, since 1990 or earlier. So super, super cool. Feel free to pull it up on your other screen or follow along with us for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'll do then, guys, just bear with me. So I will navigate from here, and I probably won't keep a lot of attention on the chat, guys. So I'm going to rely on you guys to keep an eye on the chat. And so if there's anything that in particular that you want highlighted or magnified, just let me know, and we can just go through and have a look and just make some comments. Is that cool?
Yeah, sure.
Works for me.
Okay. All right. So this is the main photo, isn't it, on the article?
Yeah, and the cool thing about this is I had no idea that Steve DiMarzio was a photographer.
Yeah.
And he went to take these photos with Eddie in LA for this magazine right here, which you don't have to present me, Andrew, since you have that. But Guitar World.
Okay.
What year is this? February 1990. So prior to For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, right? So,
Yep.
Remembering Eddie, you can kind of skip through this, Andrew. I really want to get to the meat of this thing, so we're not on here for 4 hours. But Steve DiMarzio talks about how we had a loss with Eddie, and he went to 5150 to do a photo shoot. And I think they met somewhere in a studio outside of LA. And the biggest thing that, Brad, that popped out to me is Eddie showed up to the photo shoot in a pickup, and he had the 5150, he had the Frankenstrat, and he had these other two guitars just thrown in the back of a pickup, no case.
In blankets.
And many of you guys know the story when his brother-in-law, David Bertinelli, took this photo. They went down to the beach, and it was the same thing, but Eddie threw him in the back of the pickup with no blanket. And kind of what that says to me is that Eddie really treats these guitars as tools. He doesn't treat them as works of art or vintage pieces of equipment like he would a 59 Les Paul or a 60s Stratocaster. He really considers these things like a DeWalt drill or a skill saw. He really doesn't treat them like, they're his prized possession. They're more of a tool to him. So really, it's amazing that he just kind of throws them around and doesn't really take any care about the condition of them. What do you think, Brad?
Oh, yeah, he's definitely tools, but he was very particular with his guitars, though, which is quite surprising. He was always wanted his particular guitars. He didn't want to had an abundance of guitars, but like even I read somewhere I can't remember what it was I was reading now. He's on tour and his Kramer 5150 was failing him or something, so he flew in his Frankenstrat just for the gig, just to get through. When he probably had an abundance of guitars there, but he just obviously the guitars he was used to, he wanted to play them. So,
right.
But
Andrew, you want to go back to that last slide real quick?
They were tools of the trade, and that's all credit to guitarists that do that. They don't leave them in a storage unit; they actually use them.
Right. So a couple things that stood out to me here is you see three either explorers or destroyers right up top there by the mirror. One is the Shark, which Andrew had his mouse on right there. The other one with the rosewood fretboard, that looks like a destroyer. And then the last one is missing a headstock. Okay? Now, I'm just speculating here. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. I know Fruitcake Tony got in here, and so did Cobra Kai Platoon. But as you guys know, the 5150 headstock was designed around his Ibanez Destroyer headstock. Did he cut that thing off and send it to Kramer or to Paul Unkert to have him make the shape of the 5150?
That's a very intriguing question.
It's a bolt-on neck. Why ship the whole guitar when you can just cut the headstock off and send it over to Neptune, New Jersey? I don't know. Just a thought. Maybe I'm crazy. But did you guys see that guitar with no headstock on it?
Yep.
Yeah. And then, Andrew, if you go down right past the Shark, you'll see a Kramer aluminum neck. You see the headstock right there in the mirror? It's got the V-shaped headstock with the tuners on the side. You can see it in the mirror. The silver tone is in there. I also saw, you see a Steinberger faceplate, but there's also a Steinberger guitar. If you scroll down, you'll see a headless guitar go down, not across. There you go. Right there, there's a headless right there. See that? Two of them. So I don't know if one's the 5150 and the other one's a black one. But to me, I don't know. Those are some of the things I picked out of that picture. Of course, you have underneath all those Celestion speakers, which we'll get to in the next picture. There's all those Kramer striped bodies.
When I saw this photo, I couldn't believe it. I just sat and looked at this photo for about 10 or 15 minutes and just scanned it and thought it was just, isn't it?
Yeah, Cobra Kai Platoon, he asked if that's the Snake guitar. I think that it's up there hanging up. There is a weird shaped one kind of in the mix there.
And there's a cactus garden too, guys.
Yes, that's feng shui.
Okay, I'm going to flick it over. Fast Eddie, thank you for joining us. Cobra Kai, thank you. Fruitcake Tony, we're going to jump over to the next page. Anything here in particular you want to have a look at, guys?
Yeah, just the Kramer body, striped bodies. And there's that Gretsch hollow body.
Look at that.
There's the picture in the photo shoot.
1, 2,
there,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 10 there, Brad. And Kurt.
Yeah, there's that silver tone that he had in the photo shoot right there next to it.
Yep.
I wonder what speakers they are on those Kramer bodies.
Just sitting there.
Yeah, someone could prop their foot on them and wouldn't even know what they were. So, yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. I mean, really, you could do a whole show just on those two photos if you had the right technology to zoom in on them. This is the same. There's the Super Pluto right there, the Ripley with all the buttons on the side. Kramer striped Ripley. Yeah. A couple Telecasters. Man. I'm not sure what that guitar is with the eye on it. You see that?
Yeah.
That one there?
Yeah.
Is that a Del what's the one that Jimmy Page used to play?
Yeah, Electro.
When he used to play Kashmir.
Dan Electro.
Yeah.
If it was Dan Electro, you should be able to tell by the headstock. It looks like a 12-string or something, right?
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. Anyway, pretty cool. I don't know. I get off on this stuff. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I think we all do, Kurt. I mean, when you made me aware of this article, I must have just looked at the pictures over and over and over and over all night, basically. Just it was unbelievable.
Right. So, Andrew, I'm going to dive into kind of building this Ernie Ball music band, if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, tremendous interest in Eddie's sound. It started off with the Strat, the wood in the Strat, the actual neck, the pickups, the strings, his amp. It was all modified, and people always took interest into how he was getting that sound with what he was using. And he always kept his specialties close to his chest and didn't really share a lot of particular details. So something like this is really kind of a highlight to us Eddie Van Halen nuts, because everyone had that speculation the 5150 was a Poplar body. What kind of pickup was in it, we didn't know. But the biggest thing is when he built the Kramer 5150, you couldn't get it retail in the store. They didn't sell a basswood body, maple neck, hockey stick, single coil with, the whale tail Floyd. All those things they didn't sell them. So that was the biggest thing, is people were taking these Berettas and these Beretta specials, or these Pacers or Pacer specials, and they're trying to emulate what Eddie had in this Kramer 5150. And I don't think, none of us knew what was in them. So of course, Ernie Ball, they opened the door as Eddie's next chosen guitar supplier or guitar maker for Eddie. And they decided to take this Kramer 5150 and mold some of the features of this guitar into this Ernie Ball Music Man. I think Eddie shopped around with Kramer, Paul Reed Smith, Ernie Ball. I'm not sure if anyone in the chat knows some of the other guitar companies that he shopped around, but lo and behold, he ended up going with Ernie Ball Music, Ernie Ball, to make the Music Man. But I guess one of the biggest pieces I got out of this is that Floyd Rose had an exclusivity with Kramer, and of course Kramer went out of business, so Fender picked up the Floyd Rose exclusivities. And when they were building this guitar, they wanted to put a Floyd Rose in it, but Fender had to release it. And I think the CEO at the time, it says in this article, was pissed off that Eddie didn't choose Fender to be his next maker. So he said, "No, I'm not going to sell you Floyd Roses." And Steve DiMarzio was like, "Are you sure? This is Eddie Van Halen. We're going to be selling thousands and thousands of guitars a year. That might be a bad idea." So lo and behold, they had Godo get the license, and they made, the licensed tremolo. But one cool thing is, when they said in this article, when they building the first 20 prototypes, had Floyd Roses in them. So as all you Van Halen nuts know, that Eddie's stage guitars were some of the originals, and they all had Floyd Roses in them. So we always wondered, why did his have Floyd Roses, and why did the retail ones have Godo Floyds in them? Well, it's because he took the original prototypes, and that's what he played for 4 or 5 years. So anything you guys want to add to that as far as the Floyd Rose goes with picking this guitar?
I think they made a mistake.
Okay. All right.
They made a mistake.
The other thing too was a lot of people didn't know what wood was in the 5150. So if you get further in this article, you'll see that they say in parentheses that it's made out of basswood. And Ernie Ball made 5 different prototypes, and Eddie picked the basswood with the maple cap, and it said it matched his favorite road guitar. So there's always that speculation out there. Was the 5150 Poplar, or was it basswood, or was it Northern Ash? But I think right there is black and white that it was basswood. So the biggest piece, Andrew, was picking the humbucker for this guitar, and the platform of the Music Man had a neck pickup and a bridge pickup, and of course Eddie wasn't too keen on having a neck pickup. In here it says that he didn't like the neck pickups because they got too muddy when you went from the bridge to the neck, and he wanted it to be consistent, have different sound, but he didn't want one to be brighter than the other. So he never used the neck pickup on any of his guitars, and some of them he took out. So with this one, they decided that they're going to have to do a completely different neck pickup versus the bridge pickup. And Eddie told him that I want to do the exact same pickup that I have on my 5150. So lo and behold, they asked Eddie, hey, can we pull this pickup out of this guitar and find out what it is? And Eddie's like, well, it's a Seymour Duncan JB. And just so you guys know, the high E string got caught underneath the faceplate of the pickup and actually pulled it apart, I think, and pulled it out of phase and actually broke the pickup. But Eddie liked the sound of the pickup after it was broken. And if some of you guys know that in the beginning of Eddie's, marriage with Kramer, is the 1984 was his first #1 guitar, and that's the one he used at the beginning of the 84 tour. And then lo and behold, partway through, he switches to the 5150, puts the space tape on it, and that's his #1 guitar from then till 1991. So I think that the 1984 guitar was his #1 guitar, and at one show he was using the 5150. He got that high E jammed up underneath the bridge, tore it apart, threw it off phase, and he liked the sound. So he made that his #1 guitar from then moving forward. So that's a big piece. That's probably the biggest takeaway I've taken out of this whole article. But Brad, what did you think of that piece where he was talking about how it was broken?
Yeah, well, they obviously had to try and make a new broken pickup. They had to design a pickup that was new, that had that sort of that damage to it. Obviously, doing that damage to it was they couldn't replicate that, so they had to replicate the tonality of the pickup. So, yeah, obviously he was happy with the end result. But I don't know if I'm jumping too far ahead, but it was between two pickups, and they couldn't decide. And are we going to jump on that one yet? Or
yeah, we're a little bit further. But one thing about the pickup is they actually brought in because originally Eddie wanted to use Seymour Duncan for their pickups, but he was going to give DiMarzio a shot at it to try to emulate the JB, and they ohmed the JB, and it ohmed at like 14 ohms or something. Actually, I think I have it here. And the broken pickup ohmed at the JB ohmed at 13, and the broken pickup ohmed at 180. So it was just like way off the charts.
Yep.
And DiMarzio was like, so we're going to build a broken pickup? And Eddie's like, that's the sound I want. What's that?
That's off the chart. Yeah. Phenomenal.
For sure. So anyway, they were tasked to build a broken pickup. And they went back and forth. I think originally when they showed up, Eddie asked, he says, hey, do you guys bring a pickup winder with you? And they're like, no, we have some prototypes here we want you to try. And he plugged them into a Soldano that they said had heavy gain. And I know Jay's in the chat here, but they talked about this on Johnny's show. There was a sticker on the Soldano that said, if you touch these knobs, you'll be fired. So Eddie must have had some setting that he liked, and he didn't want anyone to jack with it. So, yeah, that was kind of cool that they were playing everything through the Soldano, which totally changed his sound from the Marshall. Anyway, so they gave Eddie 5 pickups for the neck and 6 for the bridge, and he didn't like any of them. None of them passed the test. So they had to go back to the drawing board, and that's when they took the broken pickup out and tried to emulate it. And Brad, this is when they came back with 5 pickups for the bridge. And it sounded like they couldn't make their mind up on 3 of them. They had it down to 3. And finally, Steve Lukather was there, who we all know is Eddie's buddy. And he just said, yeah, number 2, that's the one you need to use. And it sounds like still to this day, Steve Lukather has either number 1 or number 3 of the prototypes, which is pretty cool. With some of those prototype pickups, which now, as we get through this article, you're going to find out that one is the Air Norton in the bridge, and or in the neck, excuse me, and then the Tone Zones in the bridge. So DiMarzio says if you want the closest pickup to be closest to the 5150, you got to get the DiMarzio Tone Zone. And Andrew, I don't know if you want to go back up where it has the EQ settings on, or the EQ chart on the Tone Zone in the bridge.
Hold on, brother.
I know you're bouncing around to keep everyone occupied while I'm rambling. One more, right there.
Well, that's it.
One
So I
more.
don't know if you can zoom into that.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Very mid.
And originally, Eddie wanted to use the Seymour Duncan custom in the neck, and then the DiMarzio Tone Zone in the bridge. And DiMarzio's like, "Come on, man, give us a chance. We worked hard for you. We actually went to bat for you and picked what you wanted, and we worked with you. And the custom is just right off the shelf." So he gave them a chance to build the Air Norton. And then the cool part about this article is Eddie was actually using the drill neck pickup of the first custom, which was the Alnico 2 deamatized magnet. And he would lose, the pickup would go out when he put the drill up to it. So with the Air Norton, they had to use a certain type of magnet to where it was compatible with his drill, so he could do his pound cake trick, which was pretty cool. So let's see. So they got the pickup set. They picked the body, which was basswood with the maple cap. Of course, he wanted a maple neck. And they took the measurements off the 5150 Kramer, and they did a digital measurement. It's an asymmetrical neck, but they think that Eddie took sandpaper to it because it's not symmetrical. It's not perfect. Some of the wear could happen from the road, but they think he tinkered with it with some sandpaper, but they matched exactly the dimensions from the nut down to the heel as the Kramer 5150. And then, of course, Ed's true and through finishing product. He uses Birchwood True Oil and Birchwood Gunstock Wax on all of his necks. This is how they did it at Ernie Ball. This is how they did it at PV. This is how they do it at EVH. And all my guitars, I sand them down to bare wood and do the same treatment. So pretty cool. If any of you guys out there don't have a finished neck, reach out to me and I'll give you the formula of success. Robot Master Switch, he's in there. I've sent it to him. I think he's rubbed lots of oil on all of his wooded necks too.
I love how they use the tone knob for the volume, just like his Frankie.
Right, and you know where that came from?
That's from Frankie, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Eddie believed that you could get tone by rolling the volume knob back a little bit. So he, his theory was if you wanted to change the tone, all you do, you just roll the volume back a little bit, and then you're changing your tone, and you can boost it with your amp. So he really didn't consider the volume a true volume. That's why the tone came into play there.
Did I read the article as well that the pickup heights are set? You can't adjust them. Is that right?
Yeah. So the pickup height on the Ernie Ball Music Man is to Eddie's specifications. So apparently when they were doing the prototypes, he moved them up and down to probably 5 or 6 different heights till finally he got the right height that he wanted. And he wanted the pickup to do the work, not the amplifier. And so the setting and the height on the Ernie Ball is exactly how Eddie has all of his guitars. And since they're screwed straight into wood, you can't change them. And they're actually pretty low compared to some other stock guitars out there due to the sheer fact that it's a high output pickup that you're potentially going to be running through a high gain amp. So there's that
I've
formula
noticed
there.
on my
His sweet spot.
I've noticed on my Axis, Kurt, the neck pickup is quite low compared to the bridge pickup. Is that the same on your one as well?
Yes, and if you compare it to like a Les Paul, the neck pickup on the Les Paul like right on top of the strings, and on the Ernie Ball, yeah, they're low. Yeah, there goes Brad. He's gonna grab his and call my bullshit.
Hold on, guys. Hold on, I'll just stop the screen.
See, right on top of it. It's pretty close to there on the bridge. But Cobra Kai, he does make a good point. The pickup on the Frankie is broken as well. And sure enough, Eddie, in his quirky ways, that's what he likes and that's what works for him. It's like he's going around the tracks with only 7 cylinders working on his, V8.
So Kurt, there's a couple of questions I want to ask you guys, and obviously by extension to anyone else in the chat. So, how important was that decision by Lukather to pick the pickup? Am I reading more into that than what should be? Was Eddie stumped? Was it a difficult choice for him, and he had to get someone quickly to make a decision? You guys have any thoughts on that, or was it just that he trusted Steve's ear a little bit better than his own? Because the reason why I ask you this is because apparently Eddie knew the difference between particle board and plywood when it came to his amps. Apparently, they used to blind test them. So Eddie's ear was pretty good. So he must have given something to Steve to make a judgment on that was a little bit different from Eddie's.
They're probably pretty close, tonality-wise, maybe, and probably just couldn't really pick it. And maybe Steve Lukather wanted that other pickup, so he pointed the one he didn't want.
So, Brad, you're exactly right. So, I don't know if you guys watched the video with who's the EVH guy. It's coming. The guy that builds the EVH Wolfgang for Fender.
Oh, that's all.
Anyway, so they do that video, and he took like 50 pickups to Eddie, and he couldn't get him to pick one. And Chip Ellis, thank you.
Yeah,
Chip Ellis. So he took like 50 pickups over like a 6-month period, and Eddie was like, nope. And guess what Chip Ellis did? He brought back one that Eddie turned down, and he's like, that's the one. He didn't tell him that he turned it down like 2 months ago. But sometimes I think his ear and his brain gets in the way to where you just need to trick him with, giving him something he's already heard, and he may hear it different today than he did yesterday. So
interesting.
Yeah.
But just go back, Andrew, if you can, and do me a favor and have a look at that lovely Sunburst Music Man. I'm still drooling over this guitar. And if anyone in the chat can tell me whether they've got any pictures of Ed actually playing it on stage, or if there's any footage of it.
I probably do. Brad, I have like 5,000 pictures of Eddie in my hard drive. I'll find it for you.
That would be awesome.
But yeah, that's a beautiful guitar.
It's probably my, I've always been a big fan of the Trans Amber. My Les Paul's Trans Amber with the quilt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
That one there.
Yeah. That's gorgeous.
I've never seen that.
I've never seen it until this article. Or maybe I have years ago and I completely forgot about it, but
Yeah, I can't recall seeing it.
when I saw this article, I got excited. I was like, I would love to see, I know it's never probably going to happen, but a re-release of, I don't think it's ever going to happen. But
yeah, they make a Wolfgang like that.
Yeah.
What color is your Axis, Kurt? You've got a.
It's amber.
It is amber. Okay.
I got the 5150 stickers on it and the eye bolts, and I took the neck pickup and turned it around just like Eddie did. I don't know. Did you do that to yours?
Yeah, I flipped it.
See, you're a nut just like I am. So
I'm even thinking of moving the moving the selector.
And what are you going to plug the hole with an earplug?
Oh, guys have done it. I've done some research, and when you drill out for the selector, you can just plug it, and if you take it to a good luthier that's got some finishing experience, they can do a pretty good job. Apparently.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Is your Axis handy?
It's in the other room. That's why I would just go pick it up. I can go grab it in a minute. Yeah. So one of the things, the reason why we wanted to do this show is Andrew has a 5150, and he put a Seymour Duncan JB in it. I have a 5150 with the Seymour Duncan JB. I know Steve Anderson, does he do the Duncan 59 or does he do the custom?
59. I'm 90% sure it's the 59. I'm 90%.
Yeah, so he does the 59, and some people swear that it's a custom. But now we know that if you want to get the true sound that Eddie got out of his 5150, you either got to break your pickup, which is probably impossible to do it the way he did, or get a tone zone. And I actually did some research. I don't know, Andrew, if you have that page I emailed you, Andy. If not, I can just print it off.
Just hold on, guys. So if I go here to brands, hold on. Give me a second. Okay.
There you go.
Is that the one? Cool.
Yep. So we got 4 brands here, guys. I just got on the internet and kind of dinked around on what I knew was out there, what was available. Because back when these Axises were in the market back in the 90s, you couldn't get a replacement pickup unless you sent in your broken one. Well, now DiMarzio is selling them now, as you see it there in the corner. So the Tone Zone, it's an Alnico 5 pickup. It's 17.31K output resistant, and it goes for $79.99. Another option is Planet Tone makes a pound cake humbucker for $59.99. This one is actually an Alnico 2 magnet, and it gets a 14K output in it. But they swear that it sounds like the Ernie Ball Music Band. And then our buddy over at Pria Pickups has a pound cake humbucker as well. This is an Alnico 5 magnet, 17.6% output. So far, that's the closest to the tone zone. And then to the left, we have a brown bucker, which is from Dragonfire Guitars. Theirs is an Alnico 5, but it's only 11.7 output resistant. So if anyone's looking for an upgrade or you're going to build a 5150, I would definitely go with one of these 4 pickups. And all 4 of them come where you can get them in black or you can get them in zebra.
That pound cake looks good.
Yeah, the Pariah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's $105. That's pretty expensive, but I know they make an awesome product there. So
yeah. Do you want me to flick those other photos that you flicked me
Sure.
earlier this afternoon?
Yeah.
On here.
And then the EVH Wolfgang is an Alnico 2 magnet, and it's 16K in the bridge. And the PV Wolfgang is an Alnico 5, and it's 13K in the bridge and 16 in the neck. So the Music Man and the Wolfgang have a lower output in the neck, but the PV has a higher one, lower in the bridge, which is kind of weird.
And do people know that the Music Man was originally called the Axis 2? Is that a point that we need to talk about? Because I don't think a lot of people realise that either.
Yeah, what was his name? Dudley?
Yeah.
James Dudley. He designed this thing before they pitched it to Eddie. And he told him that he had a sexy Telecaster Les Paul combo. So Brad, do you see the combo there?
Yeah.
With Les Paul at the bottom and Telecaster on top?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's one of the first prototypes. If you notice, the bridge cavity is wider. It looks like he's probably moved it around. There's another one where originally they were going to do a super strat type setup with a humbucker in the bridge and 2 single coils in the neck and middle position. And then someone's got his 5150 there. And then it looks like that's Sterling Ball there with the white one. Okay, here's another one. Andrew, have you seen this one?
No.
Look at the neck pickup.
Yeah.
That's not
Unfortunately,
it's not a tone zone.
What is it, do you think?
I don't know. So I don't know if that's one of the prototypes as well with custom Seymour Duncan. Maybe it was one of those early ones, or he threw something in there later on. I don't know. Lots of unknown. Any questions in the chat? Robot Master Switch. Any of you guys read this article, or do you guys have any questions or comments?
So Brad's making a comment here. The Albert Lee model was called the Axis first. Didn't know that. Then he took that design as a signature, and they started calling the one Ed wound up with an Axis. Okay. And of course, then obviously the Ernie Ball Music Man, EVH.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
And, most of Eddie's prototypes didn't have his signature on the headstock. Some headstocks weren't painted the same color as the guitar. Of course, some of them had Floyd Roses. The other thing, too, as some of you guys know, when they did the digital reading of the neck on the 5150, they fixed the 7th tuner. Ernie Ball was the one that put the 7th tuner on his headstock and fixed the crack. And they cleaned the neck, and he was pissed off that they cleaned it. And Andrew, I don't know, do you have the article? Is it close by? Is it easy to get to?
The one that we were just showing.
The DiMarzio one. I wanted to go to the necks that were
Yep.
hanging on the wall. There's a couple cool necks in there I wanted to highlight
problem.
for everyone.
Yep, hold on. Hold on, mate. Hold on. We can get there, so give me 2 seconds. Get out of there, and we're going back to the start.
Right there. So if you can zoom in on the middle row. So the one on the left there is a Kramer that's broken. So you can see the 3 tuners are snapped in half. So I wonder what body that originally was on. And then the one that says DBH on the headstock, you see the Van Halen down the fretboard?
Yep.
Yeah. And then scroll over right there. This CVS headstock with the rosewood fretboard. That was on what guitar? I found it today.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think it was on the Snake Dragon at one point. And then if you go up top, Andrew, there's some cool necks on the top row. Okay, you guys see the 4 maple necks there?
Yep.
Which one sticks out to you the most out of those 4?
That one there. The middle one.
Okay. Brad, what about you? What doesn't look like the rest?
Well, this one here. The dirty one.
Yeah. You know what that is? That's the Frankie. That's the original Frankie neck.
Right?
Really?
That had the Gibson logo.
Oh.
Yep, it had the Gibson logo. So you can see on the number 1 fret, Andrew, right there where cursor was, there's a black smudge on the high E string side of the neck. That's on all the pictures of his black and white Frankie. So that's the CBS headstock. And if you see where the peg is that's holding it up on the wall, it's cracked there down the center. He broke that headstock. He stuck it. He got it stuck in a speaker cloth.
That's correct.
So that's maple, but look how dirty it is compared to the rest. You know, that thing went on tour for a year and a half, 2 years plus the club days. Okay. Now, if you scroll out a little bit, there's 2 Kramer beak headstocks. There's one there, and there's one on the other side of that beam. One of those is off the Kramer in the Jump video. It's got to be.
Yeah. Got to be. That's got to be off Frankie on the Jump. Has to be.
Yep. And then the Coke bottle headstock with the rosewood fretboard, of course, that was on the Star guitar. And, that one. Pretty cool, huh?
Awesome.
It's pretty interesting how these necks have significance for him, and they are still important, and he hasn't buried them in the rest of his gear. So these necks are in a place where he can easily access them for whatever reason. And that just fits into everything that he said about how a neck is really important. Well, actually, the whole thing really for Eddie, but it depends on the subject and what he's talking about, because I've read many times where he talks about the neck being critical.
Yep. And one thing, too, that Eddie didn't do is he didn't refret his guitars very often. If the frets got wore out, he just threw a new neck on it.
Yeah. So why do you think he did that? What was he just, you know how, for example, Stevie Ray Vaughan, loved, the neck on, his number 1 guitar. So obviously putting another neck on wasn't an option. But for Eddie, I suppose it didn't really matter that much, so long as the neck, the new neck, the replacement neck, felt good in the first place. So he didn't put a lot of emphasis on attachment, maybe.
Yeah, and I'm not a luthier, but I think it takes a couple days to do a fret job. I don't know takes a day or two for the glue to set in. And I read that on the road, he would just change the necks. He wouldn't ever refret anything.
Just unscrew it and screw it back on.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Frankie, it looks like there has been at least 18, maybe 20 necks on that thing in its lifetime.
Yeah.
I love that Ernie ball. I love it. Soldano amps there in the background.
Yep, ostrich blue and
Yeah.
red and white stripes.
Wow.
He picked the ugliest cloth when he was building that thing. He picked the ugliest one, and he says, "You sure you want this? We never sell that." And he's like, "Yeah, that's what I want." He's like, "Really?" I can't remember whose show Steve Soldano was on, but he talked about it on a YouTube channel, and he couldn't believe he picked that ostrich blue, and it has like bumps on it.
Oh, and for everybody's information out there, Kurt is taking lessons to read Japanese too, so that he can be our resident Japanese translator on the show. So make sure you sub the channel so that you can keep up with Kurt's Japanese language lessons.
Yeah, I can cook Japanese too.
We're all waiting for an invite, Kurt.
I know. Shanghai chicken. Anyone have any questions? Looks like Robot Master Switch is sanding the neck and doing the EVH wax and oil treatment. It does wonders. For sure. Have any of you guys done that to any of your guitars?
Yeah, I always sand the back of my guitars. I have always. My Les Pauls, my Strats. I get some 400 and then probably go up to down to 800 grit. Always sand them. Hey, John Biel.
And do you treat them or do you leave them raw dog?
Leave them. But what I've been doing lately, especially on my Firebird, when I clean the frets, I just get a bit of beard wax, and just rub that in the fretboard because it's natural and works well.
It smells like the bathroom of a brothel.
Hey. Oh, okay, it smells nice.
Yes. So this True Oil is actually made for hunting rifles, and this is what Ernie Ball used, and PV and EVH. So after you get your wood sanded down to 800 to 1,000 grit, you put about 2 or 3 coats of this stuff on, light coats of True Oil, gun stock finish. Yep. Once it's dry, you put gun stock on it with a towel, and you buff it really, really fast, and the thing is slicker than snot on a brass doorknob, and it feels good. And ask Robot Master Switch, when you play, it gets worn in the more you play it. It's amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
So you do that on all your guitars?
Down the neck, it just feels like it's been played for like a year. It continues to get more worn in feel to it. It's amazing.
Okay, I need to get some of that then.
Yeah, I should probably do a YouTube show on how to do it.
Yeah,
I think so.
I know with the Les Pauls with the paint on the back, keeping the value, you probably some wouldn't want to do it, but if you have a maple
I wouldn't
neck,
take it all the way back. Yeah, maple neck, no problem. On a Strat, no problem. But no, I wouldn't sand all the way, and I don't think Brad would either, all the way to the wood on a Les Paul. But you just take a bit of that shine off, and it's good, because it is sticky. It is a bit tacky. Maybe tacky is the word.
Yeah, it's like trying to do a head first slide with no shirt on a gym floor. It doesn't work. I've tried it.
Mine actually feels all right. I mean, I've had this since 1999, though. I've played the shine, it's kind of worn off a bit, but
Yeah, you've probably taken the shine off.
it's fast. I like the way the neck feels. So, but when I
20 years of
eventually
playing.
it's got a fair bit of wear and stuff up here, and the back's pretty rash free considering I've played every gig with it for 20 years. But yeah, with the necks, on my maple necks, I like them when they're worn out a bit. So when I do eventually get around to getting a guitar like you guys have got, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to take the shine off it and use the oil and the wax.
Yeah, so here, this one I just did recently. I don't even know if you can tell, but
Wow.
man, it just feels good.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, steel wool too. Robot Master Switch for sure. Some people use Scotch Brite. You don't want to use the kitchen Scotch Brite, the green stuff.
No.
You want to do use the brown one that they use in like automotive shops.
Yeah, it's got to be nice and
Or-
soft.
Yeah, or have Andrew just do some chin ups on it, and he can get it worked in for you.
How would you rate that article, guys? In articles that you've read, is it something that you want to make a comment on? Is it really important?
Honestly, I think those sort of articles are what, people that are geeking out on this stuff and have been for years have been starving for. This is the information that, puts everything aside, because this is the true fact. This is what was done. So personally, I love articles like this. Like I've read it a few times. Read it an hour ago an hour before we went live. I get off on that stuff. I mean, I'm a guitarist, I'm a muso. I love Eddie Van Halen, love his tone, and the Music Man era, when he was using that, is probably one of my favorite eras of his sound, and probably my favorite era of Van Halen. So for me, it's like awesome. So what do you think,
Yeah.
Kurt?
Yeah.
I agree with you as far as era goes on the sound, but to me the biggest thing is Eddie never sold. They never sold a guitar that he played and used on his albums. And Kramer, he just partnered with them, and he made a couple guitars for himself that he used for 5 years, but like you couldn't go buy it. Then they came out with the Ernie Ball Music Man, and the sound was even better. It was even greater, mixed with his hands, his tone, all that. So I loved the Ernie Ball Music Man tone, and paired with the Saldano or the PV amp, like I thought it was the best sound era for me as well. And he always kept the important data close to his chest and didn't really indulge how he was getting that sound or what he was using. And for me, it was groundbreaking, because we're going off of hunches, or he did it, so I'm going to do it. And now it's factual. So it's one of the best articles I've seen, and I pray that more are to come as people are letting loose. And any of you Van Halen nuts, or any of you who's been a Van Halen fan for a long time, know that camp is very tight-lipped. And even guys like Rudy Liren, or some of the guys that used to be techs, they don't talk about the tricks of the trade or what they were doing. It's like they really have this brotherhood with the silence, and it's like Fight Club. What goes on in Fight Club, you don't talk about Fight Club. That's what Van Halen's like. Like none of that stuff gets leaked out. And I hope now that, since the band's done with, and unfortunately Eddie's passed, that's at least, since if we're not going to get any music, we get some more of those tidbits of information. I think this is just the start. So super excited.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Kurt and Brad. I think it's certainly something for Van Halen nuts. The debate and discussion about the pickup should stop now. We've been given that, so that's been ultimately cleared up. One other question I'd like to ask you, Kurt, and maybe Brad, you might know the answer to this too. I don't know, so I'm just assuming. The pickups that we get in the Axis. So I've read a lot of articles where guys are saying that they are the same pickups that Eddie had in the Music Man's. And I've read some, well, I haven't read articles actually. I've seen YouTube shows where guys say that they're not. Do you guys have an opinion on that?
I think they are. We skipped right past this, but the guitar that Eddie played on his albums and he played on stage, what did he want to do with those? He wanted someone to be able to walk into a music store and buy it and play the exact same thing that he did. He also wanted to, if he was flying to New York, he didn't want to have to bring his guitar with him. He wanted to be able to go to the music zoo and grab an Ernie Ball Music Man off the shelf and use it if he was going to do a small club show or he was going to go in the studio and jam with someone. I don't think he would have let them put a shoddy, cheaper version knockoff pickup in there if he wanted to have that philosophy in what was in retail. That's my opinion.
I think you're right.
So Fast Eddie says the same too. He thinks that they're the same. That's Robot Master Switch being silly. What's a show? What's a show when we don't have Robot Master Switch being cheeky?
I know.
The signs of right. Guys, are we good? Is there anything else that you guys want to add to that presentation? I think, Kurt, you've done a wonderful job. I appreciate hanging out with you guys. Thank you, Brad, for jumping in and offering your opinion. I think, if you guys knew what we do in the chat, talking about the stuff, you'd be scratching your head. But I think most of you get an idea anyway because you're in the Johnny Bean Discord and Kurt's in there sharing a lot of the stuff that he talks about with Brad and I too in the Johnny Bean Discord. So I have to take my hat off to you, Kurt, because you are absolutely generous in sharing your information and what you've picked up over the last 20, 30 years of being a Van Halen nut, and we're certainly lucky to have you on our show giving that background. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. And believe it or not, I have a full-time job that requires my assistance 50 hours a week as well. So as you can tell, it's Van Halen, work, family.
You put a lot of energy into
both ends.
But
what's that?
That's why we call you the Reverend, mate, because it's all up here. You know all about it. Don't mess with Rev.
No,
don't mess with the Rev.
No, look, if it's transcribed, I'll find it.
Yeah. And if you guys have enjoyed hanging out with us for an hour, just going through the stuff, Kurt has a lot of other information out there that we can do shows like this, just offering an interpretation and sharing some pictures and stuff like that, and obviously comments with you guys. So if you think it's good, if you want us to do more of these shows, just give us a thumbs up, let us know. I'm certainly fascinated with sharing this information because we didn't know it. And even with the advent of internet, we still didn't know it. But I think you guys have hit the nail on the head. It's going to come out now. I think the stuff's going to come out now.
Definitely.
Thanks, James.
Yeah, and I know Jay's in the chat. He did a 30 minutes to 45 minutes on this on Johnny Bean's show, and I could see in Jay's eyes how excited he was with this information. and he didn't want to just breeze over it. He wanted to dive deep into it. And, I had planned on reading some of the stuff out of the article, but, we kind of ran out of time, and I don't want to make the people in the chat fall asleep, but it was awesome. Very awesome. I didn't want to not make a big deal out of it, because I think it is a big deal.
It is.
Yeah, and what I'll do when this video is up, I'll put a link to that Damasio website where you can get that article, get it, download it before it goes. What happens with these articles, sometimes they're there, sometimes they're gone, but I think most of us have got copies, so someone out there will have it, if you don't get it. But I have to echo exactly what Kurt said. When he texted us and said, you guys have to read this, 50 texts in a row, read it. That's pretty important when you get that from the Rev.
51 texts. 51 texts.
51 texts.
51
right,
to you, 50 to Brad.
Yeah. 5150. Look, it's always a pleasure hanging out with you guys. If you subscribe to the channel, then you'll keep in touch with what's happening. We've got Brad doing a presentation on Sunday with Simon and I. He's going to be talking about a landmark album by Bowie, Ziggy Stardust. So I've been listening to a bit of Ziggy. Mate, I've got to tell you, there's some gems on there. Obviously, there are some great songs. Couple of interesting ones there. So I don't want you to time me out, but I'm just giving you a heads up.
They haven't on ball, mate. You don't know yet.
So check out, please, Kurt on Instagram. There he is there, at Kurt5150. And I'm going to do a push for Brad. So, Brad, if you want to make a comment in the comment, if people can go and subscribe to Brad's channel, he needs to get up to 100 subscribers on his YouTube channel so he can do some homework and housework on his channel, but he needs 100 subscribers. So please follow Brad. There he is on Instagram, very active on Instagram too. You'll keep up with everything that he's doing, plus a little bit of what he does with us on there as well. We want to take over his channel. We're trying our best. No, he's got other things to do. We can share him. We're into sharing people here.
It's all about sharing and caring, Andrew. It's all about
sharing.
Sharing is caring.
And obviously, I think what we probably need to do is we need to do a link to the Johnny Bean Discord, because there's no point us setting up a Discord. But if you join the Johnny Bean Discord, Johnny doesn't mind at all people using his Discord for other things and other bits and pieces. Just be nice and polite on there. And Kurt's going to share a lot of information with you guys on there too. So, yeah, he's not called the Rev for nothing. There he is.
Thanks,
There's Brad there. There he is. You guys, please bang on there. Hit that subscribe button for Brad. Awesome. Okay, so Brad, right. I think it's your turn to say goodbye to everybody in the chat. Can you read the chat?
I can see it on my phone. I've just opened it up now to put that comment in. So,
okay.
Bent Tom, obviously Kurt, 5150, the Rev, Fruitcake Tony, Teresa, where are we? Robert, Master Swish. Where are we? My phone's just going off with messages. Nelson, thank you, Nelson. 7/8, that's Jay. Where are we? Ellen Vorishin, my mum. James Gum. There's a fair few people in here. Fast Eddie Van Halen. Just trying to see if I've missed anyone, guys. If I've missed anyone, I'm sorry, but I think I've covered off everyone.
Yep. Yeah, that's
John,
good. And
John 150, thank you.
Yep.
And thanks very much for joining us.
And do us a favour too, before we go. So don't forget, we've got a competition. Subscribe to the channel. and if you share the channel, you go into a draw to win a Van Halen t-shirt, and you pick the t-shirt, you pick the size, we'll pay for it, we'll ship it, and all you had to do was just sub to the channel. Easy.
Mm-hmm. Shoot, have
Excellent.
a friend sub to the channel, and then have them give you the shirt if they win it. If you're already subscribed.
Awesome. Okay. All right, guys. Brad and Kurt, thank you very much, brothers, for hanging out with us. It's always a pleasure. I know that you guys are busy. Kurt is busy. I know, Brad, I know you're busy, mate. I know you've got things to do. And all we can ever say is thank you. And we can never say enough thank you. So thank you. And also everyone for hanging out with us. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very
Rock on.
much.
Pretty good.